Up next, we have Andrea from Des Moines, Iowa. Andrea, how can we help today?
Yeah, I was wanting to know, how do you maintain unity and calmness with a team while knowing all of the unseen details happening below the surface? It reminds me of an analogy a friend shared with me of being like a duck on the water with other ducks who are on your team. So many things can be happening below the surface, from, of course, big picture decisions to challenging team relationships. But a leader is called to remain calm and lead the team without pulling them below the surface to the chaos below.
Mm-hmm. Man, I love that analogy. That is so funny because it's so true, right? As leaders, we are working so hard, we're paddling so fast, and oftentimes, we have a calm face, we have a calm demeanor, and we have to be in control of how we're expressing, what we're really feeling underneath. So, it's funny. I was actually just having lunch with one of my best friends. He runs a restaurant here in Nashville, and we were talking about the same thing. He's going through some issues he's facing, and so I think this applies. This is really top of mind for me, so I appreciate that. Well, first of all, I would say different situations require different responses. There's different types of things going on under the surface. There's things that your team is aware of, like the elephant in the room, and then there's issues and situations that your team is not aware of. And so it's good to categorize that. It's good to just call that out and be honest with something. And so if it's a situation that let's start with the situation that your team may not be aware of. There are things that you should share with your team, and there are things that you should not share with your team. Just, you have to use your discernment in what that is. And so I'll give some examples here. If you are feeling, you are not going to be able to keep paddling at the rate you are, and you are feeling a ton of stress or anxiety or whatever, I think in many circumstances it is actually healthy. It's a good thing to be open and honest with your team about that, and to tell some of your core team members, like, hey guys, I am paddling really hard right now, and it's hard. I think that is a fine conversation to have, because what that does is that actually invites the conversation for you to ask them for help, for you to ask them to take on some of your burden, even if it is just for a short season. That gives them permission to lean in and to help and carry some of your weight. It also, on the other hand, it helps gain a lot of trust with them, right? You're being honest, you're being authentic with them. So it creates a culture amongst your team where they can be open and honest about what's going on inside of them. Now, you don't want to overshare, right? Like, if you are considering quitting and closing shop, like, you don't want to talk about that because crazy thoughts go through your head a lot that you shouldn't share, all the time. I know they do for me. And so you have to use your discernment on what is oversharing versus what is appropriate to share and good to share. With that too, you don't want to just sit there and tell them all the emotions you're feeling and just dumping it on them. You want to take productive action from that and say, hey, this team member just left our company. They resigned. And guys, this is really hard for me. I have a relationship with this person, so that part hurts. There's also a lot of work that this person did, and that work's not going to get done. And so, man, that is hard. So you say that, and then you follow up with, and here's what we're going to do about it. For now, I'm going to take on this aspect of the responsibility. This project we're going to put on pause, and we're intentionally not going to do it. And we're going to try to hire someone. We're going to try to backfill this person. We're going to reorganize the area. And hey, we may not have all the answers right now, but as we go, team, I'm going to keep updating you. And so it's the bring them into the problem, and then be honest about what you see around the corner. Now, most of the time as leaders, we don't have a very clear picture of what the future has in store, but share at least what you do know about the future, what you are certain of, what you may be thinking about and considering. And that invites the team to maybe add to it and help you plan and help you create a clearer picture for the future. So that's kind of a situation that the team may not be aware of. It's similar for the elephant in the room situation. If there is an awkward circumstance, if there is an issue, maybe the marketplace is shifting Maybe there is a difficult situation going on within your office. If appropriate, it's good to just acknowledge the elephant in the room and say, hey guys, I recognize that the market is shifting. I recognize that our sales in this area are going down. Here is what I believe to be true about that. And invite them to say, hey, what do you think about that? Depending on the circumstance. So what that does is say, it tells your team that you're not blind to the problem, you're aware of it, and that you're actively looking to solve that problem or to address it. And so that deflates the pressure so much. It really takes the tension out of the room when people know that their leader is at least aware of it and can just say it out loud and just point to the obvious.
Cool.
So So all in all, you're gonna have to use some discernment here to say what is appropriate. But I think it is wrong as leaders. It would be wrong of us to just always put on a smiling face and always pretend like everything's great, because that's not real life. And the more we fake it, the less our team is going to trust us. So the more authentic we can be, the more real we can be, to an appropriate extent, is going to build trust with the team and help them see what the future has in store, or a clearer picture of what the future has in store.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's such a challenging place to be in, to keep a great mindset and decide when it's a time to filter it and when it's a time to share and be human and relate in that way. I find that to be a challenging balance for sure.
Definitely. Yep. And often it's a case by case basis. So I can't help you with every specific situation. But that's why we're leaders. That's why we are given this responsibility, is to help navigate through this.
So one question I have with that is, as a leader, you really work to maintain, of course, your own perspective and mindset while you're helping your team with yours. So, of course, we're called to a higher capacity as leaders. So when you have sub leaders underneath you, how do you decide what to pass on to them to carry some of that high capacity with you? Is there another filter you kind of put it through, where, of course, you would share more with your leaders than you would share with just your team members? Is there another filter you have within that?
Sure. So, delegation has a ton of layers to it. There's a ton that we could talk about around how do you know what to really delegate? How do you know what to bring certain leaders into the fold on? And I guess you need to ask yourself, what is your intent with a certain issue? Some things you don't want to burden your team with, because they don't have the ability to solve it. And by bringing up the problem, it may make them feel helpless. Other situations, you're making them aware of a problem. You're bringing them alongside you while you solve it, in an effort to train them and to show them how you think. And you're helping to grow them so that you can, in the future, be able to delegate more things like that to them. So being intentional on, hey, what are things I just need to bring visibility into, and talk them through, hey, here's what's going through my head. Here's how I'm processing this situation. And other things are in the case of my friend who runs a restaurant, they're really in need of adding some hourly team members. And so by bringing his team into that, he can say, hey guys, we really need a couple extra sets of hands. We're going into a busy season. I need y'all's help in finding some hourly team members that we can hire. And so, guys, can y'all brainstorm with me solutions to this problem? Are there people we know? Can we offer referrals to our team members to help solve this problem? Can we go recruit in this aspect or that, or this way or that way? And so I think there's kind of three different scenarios of some things that are really your burden to bear as the leader, and may not be appropriate for you to share. Others, you can bring people alongside you and train them so that you can hand them a similar situation off to them next time. And then the other is, hey, bring them in to help solve the problem with you, brainstorm with you, bring ideas to the table, and maybe, through that brainstorming, you can say, hey, I really like that idea. Would you mind running that down and seeing if that works? Would you mind owning this aspect or that aspect? And so I think, when possible, try to involve your team in the problems you have, because they're going to have ideas that you didn't. They're going to have new perspectives that you didn't.
Yeah. So good. That's so good. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Andrea, thanks so much for today. I really appreciate your questions. And man, I'm really excited about our listeners hearing this.
Thank you.